Um, let's talk a bit about the World Cup currently going on as we speak. Some issues with FIFA aside, it's I've been really enjoying it. But I'm British, so it's kind of part of my culture, right, to enjoy the football or the soccer. So, but I'm interested in from a US gambling industry perspective, what, if anything, you think the impact of this kind of World Cup has been, and if there's any kind of legacy, changing kind of legacy it will leave on the market um, in the future, or not? Will it be just a passing thing that everyone enjoys and then we go back to normal? Uh, Bill, if I could ask you first for World Cup thoughts.
Yeah, first of all, it's very important. I think most Europeaners, and for that matter, everybody outside the US, including Canada, have a greater appreciation and culture and legacy with soccer. Americans are not that, I don't want to use the term sophisticated, but they're not that knowledgeable about soccer. I love the fact that the spirit of the game is just extraordinarily exciting, emotional, the passion. I love that. I think it's really good that it's here. And I think what will happen is very similar to what happened to golf when Tiger Woods hit the scene. I think you're going to see more and more Americans taking up the game, interested in the game, observing the game. You know, we have on Sunday mornings the Premier League and all of that, but we're just not that knowledgeable about it. In terms of, so I think it's going to end up being a very positive impact for Americans. I think that those who have come here from abroad have enjoyed it. I've loved the banter between, cultures and countries. But I also think it's extraordinarily good for the betting industry because I don't know if you've been monitoring, but the amount of bets being placed both on the PM side and on the traditional sportsbook side have been massive. And that's a good thing. And so far, there haven't been any controversies. Let's hope that continues. Um, your homeland is one of the favorites. My homeland is not one of the favorites, but we're moving on. So it'll
You,
be
I think you
interesting
may have played better than
to see
the
what
US
happens.
may have played better than England so far. So I wouldn't be. I'm not going to say anything. Martin, how are you feeling about the World Cup?
Well, my homeland is out. Good thing is that my wife happens to be Brazilian, so I've got an adoptive homeland, and I'll be rooting for them throughout the rest of the tournament. And we happen to be down here in Brazil, so as you can imagine, it's been the game against Japan, and the same will go for the upcoming game against Norway. It's been an absolute madness. A lot of wrath and anger when Japan scored, and then outburst of love and emotions and passion, tears of joy when Brazil turned this game around. So that's just to illustrate that most countries around the world, with all due respect to my residential land, have historically had much more exposure to the game of soccer slash football, to use the proper British expression. That is one. Secondly, we didn't come down here till last week. So I had the privilege and pleasure of having been to two World Cup games live. But you may not be able to see Bill's t-shirt, but he's sporting a Knicks t-shirt. So that was the first reason why, at least in the tri-state area, most definitely in the New York City metropolitan area, not many folks would have really cared about the World Cup, at least at the initial stages. Go Knicks. Now, reportedly, good old Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce might be getting married in the garden tomorrow. Oh, that's what I presume the whole of America will be watching. So, in that regard, and it's all in the best of spirits and part of our banter here. No, World Cup has most definitely been very good and very productive for the PM and the betting industry. I agree with that. The question is whether it will turn out to be or won't turn out to be sort of a one-off, bit like the 94 World Cup back in the States, of course. But, with the seemingly unstoppable increase in the size of the Latino population in the United States, it's bound to grow ever more popular. But at the same time, that is the final point. Now, the American football season is just around the corner. So, cometh, especially the start of the regular season around Labor Day, I guess the World Cup, the Soccer World Cup, might become a rather distant memory.